It's not the first time it's happened.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I'm doing another indie horror spotlight. I have a director who has a movie just got out in the film festivals, and it's going to be streaming on Tubi, Amazon, Roku, all the streaming services soon. It's called Sloppy Seconds. I have Ryan Shovey with us today. Ryan, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Good. Going good on my end, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Sloppy Seconds.
Sure. So, Sloppy Seconds is it's a short little revenge tale about a woman who finds out that her husband's cheating on her, essentially, and we get to watch as as he gets tormented essentially throughout the night. And it came about because the lead actress and the producer, Tracy King, uh, told me the idea. She basically told me about what would have happened if she would have caught her ex-husband in the act or any of that stuff. What she could have done to get revenge on him. And I just thought this sounds like an amazing episode of Tales from the Crypt.
It
So
does.
my goal was to, let's just treat this whole thing as if it was like early '90s and this was Tales from the Crypt. So it has all that the really low contrast, the TV look, the feel and the tone and the pacing and stuff as a Tales from the Crypt episode. So people seem to be digging it. Got a really good bloody payoff at the end too. So
Nice, nice. So, I mean, this is probably every cheater's worst nightmare.
you would think so. You would think there'd
Yeah,
be less cheating, right?
exactly. But I mean, divorce. I mean, it's the besides finances, it is the number two reason for divorce in this country. So
Right.
a lot of
Yeah.
people doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there we screened at Horror Hound. Um,
In
uh,
Cincinnati.
yeah, in Cincinnati, right. We screened at Horror Hound, and the audience in there, they were really quiet. They were watching the story, and then when they saw the twist ending, when they saw like the revenge epic at the end, it it was like a stadium in there. Like everybody stood up and like, oh yes, yes, when they saw how far it went and stuff and how bloody it got, and yeah, people seem to really be digging the content of it for sure.
Now, do you use all practical effects?
For this one, we did.
Okay.
Generally, for a lot of my other films, I've relied on because I have a post production background. My day job is post production in the film industry and stuff. So I've relied on a lot of uh, visual effects and tricks that I could do there. But for this one, yeah, we went full practical, and yeah, it we actually won the award at Horror Hound for best special effects. Um, yeah, it looks a lot better when it's all practical.
Yeah, I listen. I grew up in the '80s. I'm a huge
Sure.
'80s horror. I love the practical effects.
Yeah.
I mean, the CGI has its place in some horror movies, but I love a good practical effect.
If you can enhance it here and there, then that's great. I've worked on some huge Hollywood blockbusters just in low level post production stuffs where you don't when you look at it you don't realize it's fake blood. But
Mhm.
I was the one who actually put the fake blood on it. And it has its place, yeah, but I'm sitting here, I have the poster of the thing right here and I'm just like I I if I could do it practically, I would really rather do it practically.
So, tell us your story. How did you get into horror filmmaking or filmmaking in general?
Well, let's see. I mean, I grew up loving just horror films, and I was always that weird nerdy kid who would rather be watching like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or something from the 20s or Universal Monster movies or something like that. And everybody else is like, no, let's go play Ninja Turtles. And I did like Ninja Turtles, but I really liked that the Dark Side. The Wolfman was my favorite. I can't tell you how many times I rented the Wolfman from Blockbuster. And so I just really got into like horror, I guess, as an aesthetic when I was a kid, and then through the teenage years, and I'm from the South. I'm from Florida, and so we went through what I like to call the church phase, and where basically horror was banned. I remember my mom getting mad at me for watching the Munsters at one point. It was really weird time, And so going through church, I basically once I became an adult, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I kind of refound that love of filmmaking through being a musician, being in bands, and we would just start making silly little music videos after practice and stuff, and I just fell back in love with it. So decided to go to film school and really discovered that horror films are so therapeutic for me, especially. Like I'm able to tell so much more story than I would if it was just just a regular drama. Like I like the story of Sloppy Seconds. That could be just a regular drama, but it wouldn't be fun too.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was the biggest thing. I fell in love with genre films. I fell in love with the making of them, the process of it, and just haven't looked back. I've been doing this for 15, 16 years now.
Wow. And it's something funny you said, grow up in the South, and like I did as well, and going to church a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about horror movies, they have I say that horror and Christianity kind of have a connection, because they tell you the do's and don'ts not to do in life, and like when you do the don'ts, something bad happens.
Yeah, I always found it really strange that the people in the Christian world, especially the older people, would really look down on horror movies, because there's a lot of horror stories in the Bible, first off.
Yeah.
But on top of that, in my personal opinion, like I watched a lot of really crappy. I mean, if you like them, cool. I don't. Whoever out there, if you like low budget Christian movies, have fun. I watched a lot of them, but the best movie about Christianity and faith is The Exorcist. Like, it is the absolute best movie. I mean, it's about a priest who loses his faith and has to regain it in order to rescue this girl from the devil. I don't know how much more Christian you can get.
Exactly.
And it's shunned from everybody in church. There were so many times where they would be like, it's just glorifying the devil, and you're glorifying violence and all that stuff. And I'm like, there's a lot of violence in the Bible. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I mean, if you think about this, like for instance, the Bible says no premarital sex.
Yeah.
We have premarital sex in a horror movie. What happens? You die.
Yeah.
Drugs, you die.
Yeah.
You're a bad person, asshole, you die.
Right.
I mean, who always live? I mean, it's the goody two shoot virgin.
Yeah. I do like that we're trying to get away from that trope now.
I know.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, especially growing up in the 80s. I mean, that's essentially what every Halloween movie, every Friday the 13th, even Nightmare on Elm Street, which is my favorite movie. That same thing. Like the ones who had sex died like really fast and right away in a big gory way, and the ones who didn't, the girl who didn't survived to the end. The virginal innocence survived in the end. So yeah, you would think that Christianity and churches would embrace horror movies more, but they're just really scared of things that look creepy, which always weirded me out.
Yeah, because I mean, everything in the Bible, like you say, is a horror story, and it's kind of creepy too.
There's some creepy stuff in the Bible. There's some creepy stuff. Yeah. Yeah, but that's also the fun part of just films, right? Is it's like a roller coaster. Like if you're not looking into the eyes of potential death, then where's the fun in it?
Exactly. And the fun thing about horror is every single human being, we have fear of something. Yeah. And horror movies kind of make fear less scary to me.
It gives you I have seen some studies that talked about it, but it gives you basically a practice scenario to handling fear, to embracing fear, and becoming stronger from it. So yeah, surviving a horror movie, just watching it, get your adrenaline at a certain place to where you can pretty much conquer anything.
Exactly. Now, you are working on some other projects as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next?
So everything's up in the air. We have the the first thing that brings money in is the first one that goes next. The first one, the first budget that gets raised is going to be the next one. Yeah, I have 4 feature scripts that I'm pitching and trying to get raised right now. The one that's closest is one called Parasomnia, and that is a ghost story about a reclusive woman who's tortured by night terrors, and then she has to unite with the ghosts who haunt her dreams in order to escape the house of a psychopath. Oh, wow. And it deals with like insecurities and self-assurance and stuff like that, which are very human and relatable, but it's also like a really messed up ghost story. And halfway through the movie, our lead actress becomes a ghost. Like it's the midpoint of the movie, so it's not like a huge spoiler, but she gets murdered, and then she basically has to become the Crow, and she has to become this vengeful poltergeist that then, you know, rescues people from the serial killer. Like it's a really fun, dark story.
That's bad.
And I have a team of 3 amazing female women producers. Female women, can I say that? Of women producers who are really badasses. And we just went through this class with that Black Magic Design sponsored, all about pitching and creating the material and all that stuff to be able to get it done. So anyways, yeah, we're working on that. I'll show you some of the imagery. Actually, you could check out parasomniathefilm.com too. We have that up, and you can see the story and stuff and where we're at with it. But that'll be a really fun one if we can get it going. Really creepy, dark, contrasty, haunted house movie.
Now, how do you? So I'm assuming you do all of the writing for your films.
Yeah, I'm a writer director. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you pump out so much? I mean, scripts. How do you pump out scripts and ideas so fast?
Ooh. Not by choice. There's something inside that's like, you need to sit down and write tonight. There will be times where I'll spend 8 hours in a coffee shop writing, and then I'll come home and spend another 8 hours until like 6 a.m. writing. It just has to come out of me. But I don't know. I enjoy exploring character, and I enjoy finding characters who are open about their flaws. Like, we're all humans, we all have our own flaws and are things we're afraid of, or insecurities and stuff like that. So I like having these stories of these characters and then just putting them in like horrific situations and forcing them to grow. Like, they have to come to terms with their own demons before they can beat the monster type thing. And ideas have just been coming to me, especially lately. Like I said, I have 4 features right now. I have 2 more that I have outlined. One's a creature feature. The other one is like a 70s horror meets Final Destination type thing. It's a girl versus the Grim Reaper type thing. It's really, really fun story. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing is it takes so long to make a movie. It takes so long to get the financing and even just the nuts and bolts of sitting on set and making the movie, to where if I write the script, I feel like I'm accomplishing something and I'm telling a story, and it's complete, and it in its own document, it's complete. And I feel like I've made the movie at that. Like, you can at least watch the movie in your head. So I just want to watch these movies, so I try to write them as fast as possible.
Now, is it hard as a writer to not put yourself into some of your characters? A little piece of yourself?
Is it hard to not do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say it's very hard not to do that. All my characters have a piece of me in it. Even the women characters that I've written that are the leads, the ones that we follow. There's a lot of things I cannot relate to them about, and I try to surround myself by very knowledgeable and strong artists, other women who can give me ideas of how to make them more authentic. But they always have a core that is me, like dealing with insecurities or dealing with your self-acceptance is a big thing that I've gone through a lot with therapy, and just being like, I'm enough. I'm good enough. And like, so like all my characters have these flaws. So I think all the flaws that I put into the characters are just a version of me. Um, and then figuring out who they are and figuring out uh what's a good word? It's figuring out substitutes for parts of their character. So like for instance, I just wrote this one script where the guy is a chef, and he's like super proud of being like this artsy chef. That's just a substitute for me being a filmmaker. Like he's basically me, but I gave him something creative and something artful that he can put his heart into, and that way I'm able to relate to him more.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna ask you a question because you're from the '80s realm too, so I feel like we're in the same age range.
Sure.
What growing up was your favorite horror movie based video game?
Horror movie based video game growing up. I loved when okay, well, I got to think about like where I'm at, because I loved Mortal Kombat, especially when that first came out. That was the big one. But when I first got the first PlayStation, I can't tell you how many times I played through Resident Evil.
I love Resident Evil.
And just the first one, like even with the crappy controls, were like, but it just felt more like a horror movie. Like you can't run away from the monsters, and the even now, during the pandemic, I played the remaster of the first Resident Evil, and I played it all the way through. It took me a few days to beat it.
Amazing.
But still, the doors creaking open every time. The doors creaking, like, what is going to be on the other side of this door? I don't. It still gets me, and it's still so creepy and fun. But yeah, I think I'd have to go with the first Resident Evil for sure.
Silent Hill 2, by the way, which I hear that they're making a remake, was a creepy fucking game too. Like,
yeah,
that disturbed me. That was on PlayStation 2. When I first got a PlayStation 2, that was the first game I got, and like,
wow,
it disturbed. But like the recent Resident Evil, the one before Biohazard, that's the one where the husband is meeting his wife's family for the first time, and they're all running around chasing. They're crazy. That game scared the shit out of me. Like, I could not even finish that game. It terrified me.
I haven't even played it. That sounds fun though.
It is. And I mean, it's real life. Like you have like a limited amount of bullets.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere to go. You're in this house, and you got a crazy mother, crazy father running after you. It is terrifying.
Oh wow. Yeah, I got to catch up on some of those games. Like, I'm excited to see the new like Alan Wake 2 coming out.
There's some
yeah, they've been talking about it lately. Yeah, there was some footage at some of the games convention things recently, and yeah, like that looks fun, but I haven't really played too many horror games lately. I don't know. I've been playing the board games though. But
would you playing what?
Board games, like horror board games, like those are fun.
Are those fun? Like I've seen a couple of those at horror conventions, and one had. I wish I could give the guy a plug because he was on my video, but like they seem like fun.
Yeah. There's this one that I have called Mixtape Massacre, and
that's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one that I actually interviewed him at a convention.
Yeah.
And
every time I get friends together and we're like, let's play Mixtape Man, they're like, what is this? And then we play like a quick round of it, and they're like, let's play again, because you're just a bunch of slasher killers going around trying to kill it, find your victims and kill them, and avoid the heroes coming in to save the day, and also trying to outbest each other. That's a really fun one. And then also the Thing board game. I loved playing the Thing. Have you played that one?
No.
That one's really cool. It's like, it's got an element of werewolf in it, because like there's aliens that are simulations, and as you're going through the game, like more, depending on how many people you have playing, more people become aliens as well, and they're trying to sabotage everything while you're trying to like get out of the Antarctic place. It's super fun.
Now how many people do you need to play for it to be fun? Like 4? You do 2 people.
2 people, no, you can't do two. 4 people is the minimum to play with. We played with 4 people recently, and it was okay. We could see where 5 would be beneficial because every time everybody becomes a captain at each time, and you have to go do these missions, and you have to bring certain number of people with you for each mission, and each person does a different job, like an engineer or a scientist or whatever. And so if you have 4 people, you basically take the whole group with you every time you go. But if you have 5, then you can pick and choose who you want to bring. It could be like, oh, I think you're the thing, so I don't want to bring you because you might sabotage us on this. Or you can like, there's a lot of mistrust that gets built a lot quicker. When you get up to 8 people, the game's a blast. It's so much fun. Everybody's yelling at each other. It's so much fun.
The person who's the thing, they know that they're the thing from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's fun.
Yeah. And then as you get to the next level, like other people become things. And like, because you see your card, but then obviously nobody else knows, and you got to keep it a secret until the end. And the whole thing is you want to get to the helicopter and escape the base before everything burns down, and or before the thing kills you and stuff. But you can't let the thing get onto the helicopter, so there's a certain point where you got to be like, all right, which one of you is the thing? Because if you get on the helicopter with us, we lose. And yeah, so it's super fun.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'm trying to figure out like how I'm gonna get 4 other people. I mean, I could probably get 3 people to play, but like, I don't know how I'm gonna find the other 2 people at. I mean, once you get to your 40s, it's kind of tough to get people.
It is, right? Yeah, I'm always telling people, like, hey, bring your friends over.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Like, once you hit 40, you lose all your fucking friends. Like, they just go bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm a single dude living with my dog in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like it's really hard to make. It's like if we're not making a movie, I don't really have any friends at the moment.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you some random horror questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. F, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
Laurie Strode, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, and this is a random one, but Pamela Voorhees.
I feel like this is really easy.
Okay.
Mary would be Nancy, for sure. She's my final girl.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah.
She's your final girl?
Yeah. Yeah. Nancy's always my final girl. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, like I said, that's literally my favorite movie. Even before I became a filmmaker, it was my favorite movie. So, yeah, I would marry her. I'd keep her around. Yeah, I feel like I'd go the vanilla route, and I would kill Pamela Voorhees. I feel like Laurie Strode has, Laurie Strode has some. I bet Laurie Strode could be really fun if if it came down to it.
Depends on what age range you get her though.
Yeah, and what version of her too?
Yeah, is it the Halloween? Is it the last trilogy? Because she seems a little kooky, but she's also
she's a kooky grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, or is it H2O, where it's like a totally different
I would prefer
universe
than out of all of them.
Yeah, probably that's the one I was going with too.
Like
that was right after True Lies. Yeah, for sure.
That's the perfect. It's that short haircut and everything. It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
All right, next. You have to eliminate one of these movie series forever.
Oh, I'm bad at these.
Terrifier, Friday the 13th, or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Just eliminate one of them?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would get rid of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Why is that?
I just never really got into them too much. I
had movies in that series.
Yeah, I mean, even if I go by like the remake, the one that came out with the Platinum Dunes remake, I can't remember a time I was like so bored just watching it. And whereas like the originals are are classic for a reason, obviously.
Hmm.
But if I'm just going like, if I just base it on that criteria, like the Friday the 13th remake was fantastic. Like
My favorite, my favorite one.
it's easily my favorite one.
People say I'm crazy for saying that. It's the best
No,
one.
that remake is
It
fantastic.
is the best one in the whole series.
It is so good. It basically it culminates parts 1, 2, and 3 perfectly in one movie and makes Jason scary.
Yeah.
And and it has all the
Smart too.
tropes.
And
He's
it makes me
smart,
smart.
and it's I thought that was really fun in the theater. And then, oh my God, when I went and saw Terrifier 2 last year, my favorite movie of last year. Like out of every movie I saw, Terrifier 2 is my favorite. So I can't do anything with those movies are great.
I mean, it was in my top five. Terrifier 2 was in my top five. I wasn't a fan of Terrifier 1 though. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I mean, for the budget that they shot it with, they shot it for like $30,000, and for what they did with it, um, it was really well done. Like right now, like even trying to budget some of these features we're trying to get made, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck they did that. I don't know how they made a movie for 30,000. Even Terrifier 2 for $250,000. I'm like, this is insane. I don't know how they did that. But Terrifier, yeah, the first one was just fine. It was it was fine. It was a shock fest, which was great. But that second one, I really got into the story of it and the hero's journey of the girl and her coming to becoming this badass nemesis to Art the clown. And it was also just fun and over the top and yeah.
The story definitely won me over on part two. It was.
Yeah.
It seemed like everything that part I hated about part one, they fixed it in part two.
Oh yeah, easily.
They fixed every bad thing about part one in part two.
Well, it had a story. It had more of a
Yeah,
story.
so
The first one really didn't have much story to it,
just yeah.
which is again, it's fine. I mean, but they had a lot of character stuff because they brought some of that character stuff into part two, like just that moment in part two when Art the Clown goes trick or treating and just talking back and forth with the girl, and it's really silly and funny. Like that was pretty much what part one was, and yeah, as far as character stuff, but story, yeah, there wasn't anything. There's like new characters showed up halfway through. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. The visuals seemed kind of cool, but yeah, the second one was just leaps and bounds. Just like
Yeah.
I like seriously, it was. I didn't have as much fun at the movies as any other movie I went and saw, and that was really my favorite movie of last year for sure.
Barbarian was mine.
Barbarian was so good.
I saw that in the theater, and I didn't look it up or anything, see what's going on. I went there, I was like, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah, for what they were able to pull off with that movie and keep it such a surprise and a secret, because
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that it was going to time jump the way it did halfway
I
through
didn't
that
know
movie.
where that movie was going. I thought it was going one way from the beginning, and then it just went to a whole different, like, whoa.
Yeah, that was such an interesting, because like that whole time when you have the lead actress go downstairs and all the stuff happen to them, and it's like almost halfway through the movie. You're like, it seems like normally that would have been just an opening kill sequence, and then we follow more people. But for that to just switch to a totally different story,
Yeah.
and then those characters came back in a big way at the end, and I was just like, oh my god, Barbarian was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Barbarian, and I also enjoyed X and Pearl. I mean, last
Both
year
of
was
those.
great for horror movies. Last year was amazing.
Last year was so much fun for horror, yeah, because we also had Prey last year, which was a blast.
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser was really fun. Like I really enjoyed it. It didn't last with me as long as as well as the original. The original style is still unmatched, but the remake was really well done. You're right, that was last year. Both Pearl, like that performance in Pearl was
Pearl was
it was fantastic.
amazing. I said all the time that Mia Goth should have been nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, well, she should have been for sure. There's no way they would have, but I mean, that
Because horror movie.
performance,
Yeah.
the nuance in that and everything she did, just the subtle changes in sanity that she had on a split second, and then that monologue at the end was just so well done. You're just watching; it doesn't cut away. You're just looking at her doing this monologue, and it's like that's how you know a great performance is. Like, I'm engaged.
I was actually talking to Pearl, to a filmmaker I was interviewing, and he's like, I still haven't seen Pearl. I don't know if I'm gonna see Pearl. And like, he messaged me a couple of days ago. He was like, thank you for telling me to see Pearl. Pearl was absolutely amazing. I'm like,
yeah,
you're welcome. I told you.
Yeah.
An amazing movie.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting the good word out there then for
Yes.
for people to be seeing some of these movies, because you're right. The movie was so good.
I mean, X and Pearl, Ti West is killing it with that series.
And I've been a big fan of Ti West for a while. House of the Devil came up on my thing. You know, you should watch this if you like these movies. And I'm like, yes, I love House of the Devil. I would love to watch that. Thank you, Apple TV. But yeah, they were both made for $1 million, for under $1 million, both of them. And I'm just like, I don't know how, but this is incredible. This is so well done.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, we just went through this whole class about budgets and figuring out how much money you need and tax credits and all this stuff. So now I'm just looking at all these movies that did so well and were made so well, and I'm like, how did you make it for that little? But I need to figure that out, because that's where I need to go.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it for sure.
All right, next question I got for you.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know why I always look down. I don't have nothing on there. I just think of the shit on top of my head.
But you fooled me. I thought you were reading some.
Let me see. All right, big budget. I mean, a big, distribution company. Filmmaking company. Dimension Films. Someone.
Yeah.
They give you the script. When they give you the budget. Boom, whatever you need. We need for you to bring Halloween back in an original way.
Okay.
What does your script look like for that?
My pitch?
Yes. How are you going to bring Halloween back? Because Halloween's dead at this point to me.
Right.
How are you going to bring it back and make it interesting?
So my personal opinion, I would avoid Michael Myers. I would go more the anthology route that John Carpenter originally wanted to go down. Like, I would go after the Halloween 3 type movies and set it in the world, which I think the last Halloween did a good job of kind of setting up that idea of like evil is just here in this town, and it can be anybody now, and finding different stories you can tell. But I'm actually a huge fan of Halloween 3. And I would love to see more movies like that set in the Halloween like banner. I think that's a way to go, because it's like slasher films to me, they don't lend for longevity. Like, we're even seeing it in Scream. Like, Scream is really fun, but how many more times do we need to meet a new character and they end up being the killer, and then we have to go through a whole monologue as to why they did it? And it's like, it's just getting a little long, and like trying to find, that's the problem with all the Halloween sequels, was they were all trying to find reasons to have Michael Myers be this presence. Same thing with Friday the 13th. They were all like, let's just make him a zombie now. And I think the more that we get away from that, and the more that we embrace the original idea of what the Halloween series was supposed to be, which was an anthology, I think we can start having a lot more fun with it. So that would be my, I don't know, on Twitter and stuff, I'm always in the minority in some cases when I'm like, Halloween 3, no, Season of the Witch, it's so good. We don't need Michael Myers. But I think that's where I would go with it, to be honest.
I'm sold, because I don't want to see Michael Myers come back for a long time, if ever. And I love Michael Myers. Halloween,
same.
1978 is my favorite horror movie of all time.
There you go.
And I love Halloween 2018. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Kills and ends, I don't know what the fuck happened there, but yeah, I'm done with Michael. I'm done with Freddy. I love Freddy. He's my favorite horror character.
Yeah.
To see someone bring him back and ruin my childhood of Freddy Krueger.
It would be really hard because, like, even in the remake, like Jackie Earle Haley was a great Freddy, but it was such a bad script and such a
Mhm.
wasn't a good movie. And they really just tried remaking, like redoing the first one, scenes for scenes and stuff in a lot of ways, and it just came off really bad.
Yeah.
But Jackie Earle Haley was interesting as Freddy. Like, I think giving him a better movie could have made him more interesting. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's like that's why I think that's also why I really liked Art the Clown. It's like he's something new, he's something fresh. He's not kind of the same character that we're just trying to bring back because it has a built-in fan base. It's like, no, horror has a built-in fan base. Like,
Mhm.
we could do anything in horror, and people are going to flock to it if it's good. But I kind of agree with you. Mike Flanagan says he has a really great pitch for Nightmare on Elm Street. He's somebody I would trust too,
Okay.
but it's not something I even like. Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite movie. Freddy, all those movies, like they mean so much to me as a filmmaker and as an artist and as a horror fan. I wouldn't want to make it a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want to make a Halloween movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of my own things I'd rather do. But
I feel like anybody can make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie at this point because I mean they're all shitty. I mean, except for if you look at their first two, the first two
Mhm. Totally
were,
different movies.
for totally different movies for totally different reasons.
Yeah.
And then the remake with Jessica Biel, the first one, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But there's what is it, 5 or 6 more in that genre that are total garbage. I mean, even the one that came on Netflix recently, that was horrible.
It's all a blur to me. They're all a blur. Like, I know I've seen a lot of those movies, but they just didn't really. I don't know. I'm really the minority when it comes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's just they just kind of bored me.
It's almost like the Predator. I'm bored with the Predator. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man, but Prey was so good. Prey just basically did what the original did, though. That's all it did, just with a better protagonist.
yes,
But
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that Prey is in the Predator realm. I keep forgetting it because it was so good. Because
right.
everything that before that was bad. I mean, we had the one where Adrian Brody was running around in the woods.
I like that one actually.
You like that one?
Yeah. That one was fun. Well, it was when they went to the alien planet, and you had the standoff with the Yakuza guy versus the Predator, and they both kill each other in a samurai showdown, like that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that movie, but
and then the one after that was the one where
that was the unfortunate
one. And mental patients are fighting against the Predator. Like, that was bad.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, which really sucks because that one had a lot of studio meddling, from what I understand, with Shane Black and Fred Decker, which I was excited about that movie because I'm a huge Monster Squad fan, and I'm like, you're bringing them two back to make to make Predator? Yeah, let's do it. Plus Shane Black was in the original Predator. Like, come on, that's no brainer.
Opening night, and it was my birthday weekend, and I saw opening night. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, apparently their hands were tied a lot, and it was not a fun situation for anybody from the different people I've talked to. But it wasn't a very good movie.
No, but Prey. If they can keep it on the same level as Prey, okay, Predator can come back. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, keep them gone. I mean, I think somebody has to come in and do it fresh. I don't even think this will be that hard to do. I mean, this is me. I've never made a movie before. But somebody would have come in with a fresh idea.
Yeah.
And how can you make a fresh idea out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre? You can't.
Yeah. I don't know, because if you think about the world of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and like you think about the family and the kind of southern, I don't know what you would call them, but the cannibalism, it's like all the crazy stuff. Like, you start to think about it, it's like, well, you have The Hills Have Eyes, which is kind of a similar movie, and then you also have Rob Zombie movies, which is also very similar. So,
got the Wrong Turn movies, which are awful but similar movies.
Exactly. I mean, they're all basically the same movie, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre just has, Leatherface running around with a chainsaw. We've seen Evil Dead can do really cool things with chainsaws, so they just need to have a little bit more fun with it. Which is why Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is really fun, because it, goes out there.
It was silly.
It was silly. It was made to be silly. But, yeah. I don't know. It just never worked out for me.
Yes, me too. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first two, if you give me a top 30 greatest horror movies all time, I will put one of them in there. I don't know which one. Probably part two. Part two better than the first one. But boy, if you told me to do a ranking of top 30 worst big budgeted horror movies, I feel like at least 3 of them are in my top 30.
Right.
Because the one with Matthew McConaughey.
I was just about to bring that up with Renee Zellweger.
Oh, that was bad.
I remember seeing it when I was a lot younger though, and it didn't offend me as much. But I've seen clips and stuff recently, and I'm like, this is not very fun. It's not a good job.
No. Yeah, the original I saw when I was young, and skipped out of me, but probably too young to be watching that. But in the 80s, parents were different.
Yeah.
And I felt like we were different,
Yeah. We didn't have a lot of supervision in the 80s.
And I feel like just because we saw violence, we didn't go out there and kill somebody,
Yeah. Even though everybody told us otherwise, which is why we got parental guidance ratings on CDs and stuff, and everything got stricter that way. Which I'm always so upset, because my cinematographer buddy and mine and I were always talking about the original Ninja Turtles movie. Mm-hmm. It holds up so well. It looks so well. The tone of it's really fun. Everything's really fun about it. And then because all the parents got really upset with the violence of it, they toned down the second one and wouldn't even let them use their weapons. And it's like, there was so much potential. So much potential for it to be great.
I love it. I actually did a video a couple months back. It was like the 5 most influential horror video games, and number 5 was Night Trap. Do you remember Night Trap for the Sega CD?
I do. Yeah, I didn't play it, but I know of it.
I loved it for Sega CD. It's the game that started the whole parental labels on video games. It was and Mortal Kombat. It was both of them. And and the game, it had no blood in it. It was just women getting taken by vampires, and and boy, that got blown out of.
It's like parents were really scared in the early 90s. It was such a strange time for censorship.
All right, so Ryan, where can everyone find you, man?
So I like to say that my hub that everywhere anybody can go to is my website, which is ryanshovey.com. You can get to my Instagram, my TikTok, all that stuff. You can see all my films on my website. A lot of them you can see on YouTube as well. My YouTube handle is Creepy Cool Pictures. You can find me there, and it has a lot of my films on there as well. But I'm most active on, I'd say, Instagram these days. Trying to do Threads, see how that works. But Instagram, I'm most active, so people can find me there and chat with me and stuff.
Instagram's tough for me to swing, because I'm so addicted. I'm not addicted, but I'm so used to Facebook, and but I now have to convert over to Instagram because everybody's on Instagram now. So
Facebook hasn't been Facebook in a long time. And then now Twitter's not Twitter anymore. It's like Instagram, and then Threads is basically Instagram's Twitter. So a lot of us are on there. But I can understand that. I guess it's a lot easier for me to relate to people with pictures. So Instagram just makes sense.
Yeah. But everyone, listen, go in next month. Sloppy Seconds. It's going to be on Tubi, Amazon, all those streaming services.
I'll tell you, it's going to be an anthology movie. It's called It's called hold on, what? Let me give you the right name for it. It's it's called Die Laughing. Is the Pulp Modern? Thank you. It's Pulp Modern Die Laughing. Pulp Modern is a magazine, a pulp magazine. They're trying to do their own like Tales from the Crypt type thing, and they saw our film. They're like, we want to have our own Creep Show movie, and I'm like, you found the right people. So, Die Laughing Pulp Modern Die Laughing. Excuse me. That's going to be the anthology film. I have 2 films in that anthology, which is Sloppy Seconds and Mirrored, and it's going to be a blast for everybody.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm gonna be looking out for that as well.
Killer.
And it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for coming on. You can come on anytime, man, to promote anything.
Oh, this is great. I love it. I appreciate it. This is so cool.
No problem, brother. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.